First of all, let's begin with our top story this hour, where the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is this morning launching a report on the public service wage bill.
Now, the launch comes in the wake of concerns that Kenya can hardly meet its development agenda due to the high salaries that are paid to workers by both the national and county governments. We now want to listen into that live event, and Commissioner J.K. Monyoncho of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is addressing those present. Let's listen in.
Find that there is an increase, but actually we don't understand how it actually happened. But because you have employed someone and you must pay, it has to be paid. So we want to find out ways, how do we manage that increasing wage bill? It should increase by us knowing what's happening and not it happening on its own without having figures or without actually being in the system to understand what is happening. Now, the next table there shows you the growing pension. 2013, our annual pension bill was at around 28 billion. But 17-18, this is annual pension bill, telling us there are more people retiring every year. And as you retire, because our pension is basically non-contributory, what happens, it becomes a full liability of government, especially at the national government level. I know at the county level we're working on some pension bill, that can be able to assist the contribution, how much do we contribute, what is going to be the basis, and so forth. But at national value, the figures we have currently stand at 17-18 stand at around 63 billion, but the current estimates are around 103 billion in 2019-2020. Now, this study was undertaken between May and June 2018. And it was undertaken between state corporations. There was we sampled state corporations and also the county governments, some sampled of the sample state county governments. The key goal, or the main goal, was to support and strengthen wage bill management in public service so that it is affordable, is competitive, it's equitable, transparent, and sustainable. The collaborating institutions were the World Bank, who are the key lead. We have the National Treasury, the Council of Governors, Office of the Auditor General, Commission on Revenue Allocation, Office of the Controller of Budget, Public Service Commission, and the Ministry of Public Service, Gender and Youth Affairs. Specific objectives were to establish existing public wage bill management and control mechanisms. What exists in terms of managing, or what mechanisms exist in terms of managing the public wage bill. Secondly, was to establish existing wage determination practices. How is remuneration determined in public institutions in Kenya? The third one was to examine the prevailing HR policies and practices. The fourth one, to make recommendations based on the study findings. So I will quickly now run into the results in terms of what was covered. As you see in that diagram there, 70 state corporations were covered, 32 county governments, okay, both the executive and the assemblies were also covered. And out of the 132, the total institutions, 126 responded, giving us a response rate of 92.6. So we had county executive, we have the county assembly, we had commercial state corporations and service state corporations, totaling to 92.6% in terms of response rate. What are the areas that were studied? The first one was HR practices and policies. And this included what are the HR procedures. It included understanding the staff complement, what is the performance, what are the reward regimes that exist, looking at issues of training and development, and also the information systems that exist. Are they manual, or are they computer based? And we also looked at the attraction and retention of employees, and of course finally we're looking at succession planning under human resource policies and practices. In terms of the trends in the public sector wage bill, what was being looked at or areas of study was the terms and conditions of employment, remuneration for public officers, and wage bill adjustment over the period. We also looked at payroll management and control mechanisms, which was looking at the payroll management practice, payroll control mechanism, and emerging payroll challenges. And finally, levels of compliance. The study was to find out what is the status of implementation of the salary structures, and especially after the job evaluation was completed. And finally, the experiences from the implementation of the salary structures. In terms of methodology, sampling the institutions, what happened was the institutions that were visited, the Commission regularly undertakes compliances in the counties and also within national institutions. And therefore, part of the guiding sampling process was to identify those institutions that have not been visited in the past. And therefore, they formed the first line of choice of picking the institutions that need to be interviewed. And of course, institutions that has in the recent past experienced challenges implementing Commission's advisories.